probably the title of this video, I picked up my first piece of SNES. Have I got any way to play SNES? No. Hello and welcome back to Behind the Curve Gaming. You join me on a Friday night where it's blooming cold back in this shed again. It's been sunny, but I thought the temperatures were picking up. Apparently not. It's cold in here and I'm freezing. As I contemplate going into not my most local CEX tomorrow, but the one in Cheltenham. The retro bug has been biting this week, seriously. So this year, so we're in like the end of March now. This year, essentially, I've not really been watching other game collectors' videos. That's what got me into this whole thing. Like, oh, I really want to do that as well. Maybe it's a bit of FOMO. Maybe it's just being a sheeper, just trying to copy what I'm watching. Maybe a bit of that. And I've not been watching any of those videos. And then this week, like nothing's really been whet my appetite on YouTube. So in that kind of like little bit of downtime, spare time where I can just watch something, I've go on then. I'll watch a little bit of Retro Ghetto. I might try a little bit of Games 24. But I think they were possibly around for that early 90s when there was the SNES and the Mega Drive and proper retro stuff, and maybe they grew up having some of that more 80s and early 90s stuff in the household already, whereas I grew up and my dad did have a Mega Drive, but I don't think I ever really saw him play it, and it got moved to my grandparents, and when I would go to my grandparents I'd occasionally get the Mega Drive out, and that was my first, it wasn't my console, but that was my first console experience when I was like 6-7 years old, mid-90s, right? I didn't have anyone in hand, no one in hand, no help, so I had Desert Strike and Road Rash in these games, and I didn't have anyone to guide me through. So for me, like, I don't have that much of that 90s retro nostalgia. I'm gonna say retro is 90s for me, right? There's a little bit. There was a handful of games on the Mega Drive that I had. I think I've got 2 or 3, and I would like to get those games back again. But watching these videos, I'm like, oh, I really like that cardboard though, that like SNES cardboard, or maybe even N64. So this week I've been like starting to binge watch like these 90s consoles that didn't necessarily do very well, at least compared to PlayStation. So no one had a GameCube, no one had a Dreamcast or any of this other, like any of the obscure stuff like the Jaguar, whatever it is, all that kind of stuff. It was just PlayStation pretty much. So I've not got any of that. But I really want to like collect the cardboard, and looking at some of the prices for like SNES, for example, you might be able to get a cart for like 20 quid and the box will be like £70 and it's half a crying out. Is that something I really want to do? So just to take you over what I would consider to be my current retro collection, right? The 90s stuff. Missing out the handful of PS1 games that I've got for now. Let's just have a look at the Mega Drive, which is nostalgic for me. I do have a Mega Drive just down there, all plugged in, ready to go. So my most recent pickup, Road Rash 2. Now I remember having Road Rash, and this cover is the one that I remember, therefore it must have been 2. It wasn't 1 or 3 that I had. I'll leave that one. This is just a random pickup. I don't know where I came across this. I must have just been watching a random YouTube game or something. This came up and it looked like a good fun game, and that's, what's it called, Super Smash TV? I've not even I did pick that up at CEX. I've not even taken the price tag off. This is £12, just cartridge and box, no manual. I still don't know where I fall on the do I want it complete. Some of the manuals are cool, but am I going to look at them? Sonic, I know that we definitely had Sonic. Yeah, this is complete. And I know that this does work as the cart falls out. And then Sonic 2 as well, which I think we did have. I was just too young to be good at these games. I did have also Micro Machines, one of the Micro Machines. I did buy that again. I got it cheap. I got it for like, I don't know, maybe under a tenner or something like that. I ended up just trading it into CEX. Like, I was just thinking, you know what, I'm not going to play it. I do remember it. Like, I remember it on like tabletop services or going over like a snooker table or something, but I'm not going to play it. That's probably my least played Mega Drive game that my dad did have, or we had at my grandparents, or whatever. And then this one, it took me all of about 2 hours trying to research, going, what the hell was this game called? Because this is the one that I did play a fair amount. And I did have a friend down the road from my grandparents. Occasionally he would come over and we would play this, because this was actually 2-player. Earliest games that I completed, I'm pretty sure we did complete it together. It was okay. Co-op, it was relatively straightforward. I think we must have only been like 8 at the time. Was a shmup, and that was Forgotten Worlds. So again, I don't think this is complete. No, it's just cart only. And I think this was, I want to say this was like £38, and I think I got this from a retro game shop online. They do have a YouTube channel. I literally watched that channel that morning, went on eBay to have a look to see what the prices were compared to CEX, and I think I came across one. It was a similar price, and it turns out to be that channel exactly. I watched it later that day. They sent me an offer for like £2 or £3 less. I just accepted it, and I got that back. So yeah, awesome. I did play it for like all of about 20 minutes. I turned it on. I was like, this is it. You just, those sounds, you just don't forget them. So this was nearly 30 years ago I was playing this. I was like, yep, I recognise the sounds. This is the game. As soon as I saw the cover, I was like, yep, that's the game. Forgotten Worlds. No idea how it reviewed back in the day, but that game was certainly my childhood. So yeah, bring me back, circle back, circle back, circle back. Obviously, beginning of the year, put the PC together. The PC's now out here, and I wanted a new graphics card. Not a new one, I can't afford a new one. I want a better graphics card. Now, since doing these gameplay videos, I've learned that supposedly NVIDIA RTX cards have really good, or at least decent, kind of like noise processing when it's in like OBS. So they're really good at removing background noises and that kind of thing. And that's something that I do need, because I'm not often in here by myself recording. There's usually someone else in here. And I don't think AMD do that. This NVIDIA one is kind of like the go-to, and apparently it's really good. So I have swayed from my typical AMD Radeon. You usually do get much better price performance. I was looking at that roughly £200 bracket, and I was like, oh, can I get away with going for a 150, or do I go for an old 5700 XT? Do I go for a 6600 or 6600 XT, or what about 7600? That's the latest one. And honestly, and in that bracket, which should be about the performance that I was looking for anyway, I think it's probably like a 2021 card or so. It would be a 2070 Super, which is apparently just a slight cut down of a 2080. It's superior to the 2070, just a cut down from the 2080. CEX currently have those for around £205, but it's old enough that it doesn't stipulate what model that is. They now stipulate the exact model, whether it's a Gigabyte, an Asus card, whatever it might be. They don't stipulate these older cards. And eBay, it looks like you could go on eBay and you could get one for like £175. So yes, £40 cheaper. Can I do some quick maths? That's not quite 20%, right? But CEX going to get a 5-year warranty. Again, whether it's no quibble, I have no idea. But in theory, that 5-year warranty is worth something, right? As opposed to eBay, where I've got a month to return it if it's not working or not as described. If we're paying for most of that, or at least a portion of that in voucher, that's not really £205, assuming that we've managed to get a few things cheap and trade it up to a bigger voucher. I've not got £205 voucher, and CEX Cheltenham have a 2070 Super in, and I don't know what model it is. It might just be a mini or something. I actually quite like the reference cards. They've got like a nice silver finish. They're not the old exhaust blower type things that should be super loud. There are nice third-party ones, but I'd want to be happy with the make and model that it is anyway. I have £120 voucher. I want to get into retro, which is a possibly very expensive place to go in terms of, I would like a SNES. What was I looking at earlier? Did I manage to look at it? Because I've been looking at N64. Do I look at SNES? They're both like cardboard stuff. You can still get cardboard for them. I've forgotten what the prices were, but I think a SNES will run you just under 100, whereas an N64 might run you for about 60, 70 quid. They also have a PS1 game, which is one that I did have, and being too young for it, I never understood it, and it was very frustrating, and I wanted to understand how to play it or what the hell I was doing, but it wasn't intuitive for like an 8-year-old. And that was, forgive me if I get the game the wrong way around, I think it's GeForce Police. So it was it LAPD GeForce Police? Editor here, I completely have mixed up two entirely different games. Maybe not entirely different, they're both incredibly dark, boxy, jaggy PS1 games. The game I actually had was called G Police for PS1. I'll insert a clip in a second, whatever.
Innocent, do not destroy. 2 down, 2 to go.
And the game that you're about to see, obviously, is LAPD Future Cop. Yeah, completely different price points nowadays as well. Pretty sure that was the game that I had, and I think I remember buying it. I want to say we were in Virgin Megastores. We're going back now, boys. We're going back. Virgin Megastores, and it was £50 for this new game. I had no idea what it was, but the cover art looked cool and the back looked cool. I was too young to know what the hell I was supposed to be doing. I don't think I ever got anywhere in that game. So frustrating for, like, you know, under 10-year-old me to have zero help, no idea what I'm doing. I probably just went back to Gran Turismo 2 or Red Alert or whatever else I was playing, right? And this CEX also has that, and I think they want something like £58 for it. And it's boxed with manual, right? The PS1 should hold lots of nostalgia for me. It doesn't, because as aforementioned, I think I was a little bit too young for it. And to me, the PS1, PS2 hasn't aged well in how it looks when it's side scrollers and platformers and sprites and 2D stuff, and it's a bit more colourful. It doesn't age as badly than when it's all dark and murky and they're trying to go for 3D graphics and things like that. It just ends up looking bad. So if it's in really good condition, I'm really considering that, because as far as I'm concerned, it's a win-win. If I like it, I keep it, and I can pay a voucher for it. Forget the graphics card for now. Pay a voucher for it. If I'm like, yeah, it's not even rose tinted glasses. It's just not my thing. It looks like it's selling for about £65-70 on eBay. If it's in good condition, I play it for a bit, don't gel with it, I can sell it on and recoup that money, because that voucher won't have been worth that much anyway. It would have been about £30 to pay for a £50 game, whatever. So I could then recoup that money anyway. So it's a win-win as far as I'm concerned. But it would seem to be ever so slightly underpriced at CEX for change. So I'm really tempted just to pick that up, have a look at this graphics card, but then I'm in a dire situation if I want both of these things. It's not looking good. I made like a 4 or 5 item list just to have a look at a couple of games as well. I think they've got Fallout 3 Game of the Year edition on PS3, which there's a chance it might be Essentials. I'm thinking about trading in one of the Xbox One controllers. I did this week take receipt of a Blue Series controller. It cost me £11 delivered. I had £5 balance, so it's like £16-17 delivered. It works absolutely fine. So I'm thinking of trading one of these in, which again I would have got for cheap. I think I have a correct white back in the house. I think this one's all good. I do have another white one, exactly, which is why I've already got the white back in the house, which again I would have picked up cheap or vintage, but the rumble's like loose. I'm assuming they're quite stringent. There's no damage on this one. It's ever so slightly yellowed, and there is a couple of like black marks on it, but other than that, I'm pretty sure there's almost a rattle. There isn't quite, there's almost a rattle though. This might not get released, edited and released, or we might have a part 2 where I said, oh, here's all the cool things, right? I might have a bit more to say about this retro. But yeah, let's move on. Okay, so welcome back. This is a part 2, which means I did go to Cheltenham CEX, and I haven't got like fantastic goodies just to show you, right? So it didn't all go to plan, but it was all there. So I'm going to roll some B-roll over the top. I did actually take some, so fantastic. So let's roll that now. So first off, the graphics card that I wanted to look at, that was the only one in the display in the glass. And you're going to see also, like, here's all the ones they had inside. So quite a selection, to be fair to them, inside. But only the one that I was looking at was in the window display, £205 for the gigabyte free fan version, which, to be fair, is probably one of the ones that I'd want. I would probably have to measure that, but because I only had 120 voucher, and this is £205, the car boot's starting soon. I've not got the money to get a load of cash out just in case for the car boots, as well as put in, you know, £80 into that. So I immediately thought, okay, that's a nice one. If it stays here, then I know that there's a good chance that it's still going to be this one. It's a gigabyte one. So we will leave that for now. We'll move on. We'll forget about it. So we had a little look around the store. I had a little look at the PS3 for some essentials. I didn't see any real essentials. The typical kind of like Lego essentials. I saw like Uncharted essentials, really cheap ones, easy ones to pick up if you want to start that selection. Unfortunately, the Fallout was not Fallout 3 or the New Vegas Ultimate. Neither of those were essentials, which is a shame. They also had in the window outside, they had like a Zelda Switch Lite by the looks of it, a Crystal, Xbox, N64 as well, which is again something that I'm looking at soon. They had a Pokemon Pikachu Color, Game Boy Color, which is really cool to see. But again, over £100, a bit too rich for me. They had a really good, or a half decent selection, to me at least, of Game Boy carts. Now again, I'm not really interested in collecting those. I did grow up playing just your basic like Mario's and your Pokemon games on those, of course. It'd be lovely to have those boxed, but I think the price is pretty prohibitive. I had my daughter with me, causing all sorts of chaos. We had a quick look. They had, they got like a little PC selection there, a little bit of GameCube, bit of 360. So I wanted to check out the Lightning Returns that I saw that I had in stock. I didn't actually find the PS3 one, so I assume someone's got that. It just seems to be that much more collectible. Xbox is actually down to £12. I believe that was 15, 20, 18, something like that. It's now down to 12. It looked like a nice copy, but it wasn't a steelbook, unfortunately. Just a standard copy. They had a few like collector's editions on the shelf behind the counter. Mafia 3 for Xbox One, Far Cry 5, Batman Arkham Knight. I have no idea what the figures or whatever those collector's editions are, but they're pretty big, so I can only assume they were pretty decent sized figures. For whatever reason, this store has a ton of Switches. They've got like 3 rows, as you can see now, like 3 rows of Switches just all sat there. I can only assume that they need to take the hint. CEX need to maybe reduce the prices on the lights and the Switches and the OLEDs and all that kind of business, because they're all just sat there. It's insane. They did have a nice one on the end. I think that must have been like a Zelda Switch OLED on the end. I think it was only like £20-30 more than a standard OLED one. So that's nice if anyone wants one of those. But yeah, otherwise, nice little trip in. Now the other thing that we were there for was I've forgotten it again. Let me look it up so I don't get the name wrong again. So we were also there to look at Future Cop LAPD. It's a with manual boxed. They want £58 for that. I asked to have a little look at it, and obviously this is CEX, so they don't trust you. I'm not going to get very fast with a 3-year-old who is not happy. But they handle the things themselves, and they will just show it to you. They don't let you get hands on with it. But it showed me that the case was cracked, which isn't in itself an end of the world thing. This is just a single CD case, so you could quite easily swap that out. But I couldn't tell whether it was the artwork or the case, but there was like a load of sticker residue all over it. It wasn't a particularly clean copy, so it may well have been boxed with manual, but it was a relatively poor condition boxed, which is funny because they can be so funny sometimes when they're taking these things in. Copy, as I said in the previous part 1 of this video, it would have been a win-win. Either you would have been, oh, this is fantastic, all this nostalgia, I'm really enjoying this game, or it would have been not really gelling with it and sell it on eBay for probably about 10 or more. So yeah. So I moved past the annoyance of that. They did have quite a healthy PS1 collection. I'm not really collecting for it. This game, if I come across it at a good price, yes, I would like to check it out and pick it up if it's in good condition. I am after Command & Conquer for PS1. CEX don't sell that for some reason. As well as, and this is in stock, Star Wars Rebel Assault 2. I believe that's one of like the movie kind of game things. But this is a double disc case, and I believe I didn't ask to get it out this time because I asked for that last time about a month ago, whenever it was, and unfortunately that case was cracked as well. And whilst the singles are probably relatively easy to swap out, the doubles are probably going to be that much harder, unfortunately, so I just left it. For the 18 or so pound they're asking for it, you can pretty much get a good version of that with no like, cracks or anything like that completes. So we went over there, had a little look round. I picked up Transformers Season 1 DVD, random, yes, very random. Unfortunately, cardboard's seen better days. This is just like, this is before me, right? 1986 Hasbro, this is before me. But I did occasionally see this kind of animated series and the whole like womp 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 womp.
Let's roll.
Those sounds will get you, man. If you watch this growing up and you see those, or you hear those sounds again, those sounds are going to get you right in the feels. And I thought, okay, you know, it's probably going to be relatively difficult to find these days. Obviously, this isn't the 1986 release, it's a DVD release, so this was a 2005 release. So even so, we are now 20 years old, this release. I took it out and I was like, okay, that's not too bad actually. It's still got the kind of like the little leaflet inside, and I thought that kind of like the visuals weren't so bad. So you've got what I want to say Megatron, Optimus Prime, and then the Dinobots. So I was like, no, that, you know, if I might be able to clean it up a touch, I might just be able to display like that. That was £4. I had a quick look on eBay, and you can get them for around the same price. But seeing as, you know, it was there in front of me with no delivery fee or anything like that, I thought, you know what, I will treat myself. My little girl wanted Trolls and she wouldn't let go of it, so there's that. Now, probably the title of this video, I picked up my first piece of SNES. Have I got any way to play SNES? No. Have I ever played SNES? No. Have I ever seen, you know, apart from obviously in CEX or whatever, have I ever come across any SNES stuff or known anyone that owned one or played the games? No. So I've got no connection to it, no link to it, apart from watching other YouTube collectors and that rabbit hole and that whole like FOMO thing and seeing all this cool cardboard and thinking, oh, that feels like it looks so cool. And I've been watching some YouTube videos, and yeah, some of the games, they look truly awful. So I'm thinking to myself, do I want this? Because the carts alone, yes, the carts alone can be had for decent prices. It's the boxes where you're going to be spending the money. But the cart alone doesn't do anything for me. Nevertheless, I picked something up. It was £10, cart only. I had a quick look on eBay, and I could sell this on for £10 to £15 if I wanted to. It's from CEX, it should work. I am trusting them to obviously that these things are legit. I don't have any experience with looking for fakes when it comes to Nintendo stuff or anything like that. I'm terrible with fakes. Yeah, so I'm not very good at spotting that kind of stuff. I might be alright with DualShocks, and that's about it probably. So yeah, I picked this up and thought on it. It does need a hell of a clean by the looks of it. It's pretty grubby, but the sticker to me looks pretty well preserved and intact. And I'm assuming that the actual case of the cartridge itself should be quite hardy, right? It's just the board inside and the sticker which is the important part. So I'm going to take a bit of toothbrush and a bit of polish to this, but that was Alien Free for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Awesome! So I looked this up, obviously for this versus the Mega Drive. I think Mega Drive box, it's not too bad, it's a bit more expensive on the SNES. It's kind of horses for courses. A lot of these kind of games, when they had like multiple releases across platforms, they tended to be different games because they're made by different people, which is so interesting to me. Obviously, these days they all tend to be like ports and stuff, and they're all the same game just for a different system. But back in the day, some of these games that shared platforms, they released on different platforms. Like different people would be making these games, and you'd end up with different games, but by the same name. It's insane, but obviously due to the huge differences, the limitations in the different consoles around the time that they're going to get released on, they had to play to its strengths or its weaknesses or its strengths. But yeah, I have got this 1993 SNES cart, first in my collection. I have no way of knowing if it works or anything like that. I'm going to give it a spruce because it is, I assume it's going to come across, it's a bit grubby, a bit grimy, and I can only assume a bit of a toothbrush with a polish will hopefully sort some of that gunk out, that ickiness. So at the very least, it's going to look hygienic for me to display, because unfortunately that's all that's going to be happening for the time being. So yes, I finally picked up some SNES. I did say yesterday that the Xbox One controller, the white Xbox One controller, was going to go in for trade-in, just to try and boost that voucher a little bit, because they charge quite a lot for controller CEX. I think at the moment with the Amazon spring sale, at time of recording at least, you can pick up a standard Xbox Series controller for like £36. And if you want a colour variant, purple, green, red, whatever it might be, £40. But CEX, they want like £50, £55 for these things. So the trading's quite healthy as well. So it is, for that, it was 32 for that. They took that, no issue, tested it in 5 minutes. It was quite quiet this morning. Thankfully, they tested that. Yeah, all good. I did also give them this version 2 PS4 controller, DualShock 4. No signs of being fake or anything. It is legit. So I was confident that this is legit. It's in good condition. It's got the barcode and everything. It's a version 2 because it's got like the grey arrows and that kind of thing. But unfortunately, he came back saying now that left stick's got major stick drift. I didn't test these because my PS4's been unplugged since we've moved the lounge around a couple of weeks ago now. So I've not tested it, to be fair. It's still got battery. So fair enough. I have picked up a few DualShock 4s, and I think most of them tended to be fake. This one's real, but yeah, I think it's probably the one I picked up that had an issue where it just goes up all the time. Something crazy like that. So that's unfortunate. Because yeah, I've got like 5 or 6 of those controllers. I'm going to test and get rid of all the fakes. And I think I have like a Midnight Blue one, I think it's called, which I know is legit and it works absolutely fine because that's the controller I do use when I turn it on. So I'm just going to keep that one and probably just pass, get rid of the rest. I don't think any of the others. I think I do have another black one which is legit, but I think it's missing the thumbstick covers. They wouldn't take that either. So c'est la vie. So we didn't touch our voucher for a visit today. So I went in 120-ish. I added 32, so we're going to just call that 150 total voucher now, which is nice. Whether it's going to go on the RTX 2070, probably will. Because whilst I don't need it for games, I would like to have it for my game recording. So yeah, we're slowly building that voucher. Maybe get some of the cheaper SNES games, or maybe even a console eventually. It's all up in the air. Do I want modern, cool PC stuff, or do I want things that are over 30 years old now? It's a bit of a dilemma. One that I really didn't think I'd be facing, but I am. Before I delve too deep, I do need to somehow play it. So, okay, yeah. Please like, comment and subscribe as always. Comment down below if you're a collector. Do you only collect stuff that you have nostalgia of, that you grew up playing, or sometimes do you branch out to something new? Because this to me is completely new. I have no knowledge, experience, or anything about these things. But it's like a new avenue to go down, so it's really exciting. Join me in the next one when God knows what I'm going to have. But yeah, thanks for watching. Cheers.